Welcome to the Blue Collar Truth Podcast. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. All right, everybody, let's talk about tools. There are all kinds of tools. In the HVAC world, we have a lot of specialty tools, but the one thing that is going to be across the board in all trades are cordless power tools. There are a lot of brands of cordless power tools, and there are the diehards. And I was never really a diehard for any brand. At least I didn't think I was. Until so I was a fan of the older quarter table tools, mainly because they had a lot of torque. They went away for a while, then they came back completely redesigned turds. And to be honest, I'm not sure if they're still around. So I was being cost effective, and I decided to go into the Ryobi line. Which, I mean, they're decent, and I had purchased quite a few tools in the Ryobi line. And one day I'm in an Ace Hardware, and I see a tool backpack that I liked. I liked the way the pockets were arranged. Just the usefulness of it is what really drew my attention. It happened to be in Milwaukee, and it just happened to be a packout, which I had seen a couple guys at work had a few of the packout trays and whatnot. I was just like, that's a hole I don't want to go down. And I ended up down that hole. And where it started was I thought it'd be nice to have a way to lock the bag in where it wouldn't slide around the truck. And then one day I was talking to a coworker, and he's got a stack of bins inside of his truck. And I'm like, well, how do you keep them from moving around? He says, well, they make this plate. Screw the plate down, everything locks into the plate. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's pretty cool. So I go and get a plate, and it's a double white plate. Mount it in my truck, boom, bag locks in, doesn't move. I'm like, that's nice. So then I ended up getting a couple of the containers, the packouts. I get them locked in. And then I see a packout vacuum. I'm like, well, that's cool. Lock that right in next to the tool bag, right there ready to go when I need it. But I don't have any Milwaukee tools. I don't have any batteries. And that's when it all turned. So I sold all of my Ryobi stuff to a buddy of mine, and that kick-started my Milwaukee shopping spree. And over the years, I have amassed quite the collection of packouts and tools and batteries and such, and used them for years. Never really had too many issues. Had a few issues, but not too many. And then one morning I get up and my windows broke out of my van. I'm like, okay, I've got puck locks on the back doors, so the back doors are not coming open. I've got a bulkhead that separates the cab from the back, so I'm not really concerned about that. So I go out to clean up the mess, and I see a hole cut in the bulkhead, and my heart dropped. And I go and open up the side door, and they got every cordless tool and battery. Yep, that sucks. So fortunately, I had some extra cordless stuff in the garage, and they didn't take any of my hand tools, so I had no issue with going to work and having the tools to do my job. And I started adding up the cost, and it was outrageous, completely outrageous. When you purchase things little by little, you really don't notice how much they add. And what Milwaukee has done, which is on their part's genius. So they are now in our supply houses, and that's all the trades. So we go in a supply house, and most companies give you a tool account, and you go there, you pick something up, goes in your tool account, comes out your check, you don't even notice it. But then when everything disappears at once and you got to start replacing stuff, you start to notice. So I said, at this point, I'm done buying Milwaukee stuff. I'm done with it. Because let's be honest, it's not the end all be all of power tools. And there are DeWalt guys that will fight you over it. I'm not going to fight somebody over it, but the, your Makita guys, or Hilti, everybody has their brand they prefer. The Red Mafia is absolutely the worst people try to talk to about tools. And if I have offended you with that, my apologies, but get over yourself. So, some of you may think I'm crazy right now with what I'm about to say, but Harbor Freight has stepped up their tool game. So, a Milwaukee cordless hammer drill and impact set is about $400. They give you a 5-year tool warranty and a 3-year battery warranty. And Harbor Freight has the Hercules line, a cordless hammer drill and impact, $250. 5-year tool warranty, 3-year battery warranty. It just makes sense. You go and you look at it, they've got the displays, you can pick them up and order them. And it feels like a pretty solid drill. So I'm like, you know what, let's do it. And I am thoroughly impressed with the quality of the product and how well it works. And I've bought a few different Hercules tools, and I've also bought some of their Bauer tools. And Milwaukee has a couple different levels in their tools, where Hercules and Bauer just has one line. That's it. And what I have discovered is I bought a Bauer hacksaw, which is equivalent, and yes, I did say equivalent, to the Milwaukee Fuel hacksaw for a third of the price. Why wouldn't you? It just makes sense. And I know there's going to be a tool that I buy that's not going to measure up to the rest of the tools or to another brand, and that's going to happen with every tool manufacturer out there. So, again, everybody likes what they like, and that's fine. But if you're just starting out and you don't have the budget to buy the big name tools, don't be afraid to go to Harbor Freight and check out their cordless tools. The the trades have their specialty tools as well. And so, and HVAC and refrigeration, we have, our refrigerant probes that we have now, the Bluetooth, and several companies make them. I've had the Fieldpiece set for a good few years now, which I like. I like the probe, especially like the clamps get on my nerves because you have to clean the pipe really good sometimes to get a good reading on your temperature clamp, or for the clamp to even read it. And this year, I purchased the Up 8 set from UEI, which comes with your temperature probes that you can charge with. It comes with your indexochrometers, comes with a vacuum gauge, your pipe clamp, temperature clamps, outdoor temperature sensor. It's a complete set. And what I have found the temperature clamps are amazing. Absolutely love them. They're a smaller profile, so they can fit where the Fieldpiece clamps can. And it's also a different type temperature clamp. And thus far, I have had zero issues, even on the dirtiest pipe, that it gives me accurate readings every time. I don't have to move it around, and I don't have to clean the pipe off, and I don't have to do none of that. I just put the clamp on there, and they're auto on, auto off. So put the clamp on, it powers on. Take the clamp off, it powers on. It's great. The the probes are nice. They have a swivel, so like you can like literally bend them in half because of the swivel, or the hinge, I should say. But I do like the Fieldpiece probes better. You can't charge with them, but I feel that they're easier to put on and take off. And that is where the MeasureQuick app comes in, which if you're in HVAC, you probably know what that is. If you're just getting into it, you may not know, but here you go. So with the MeasureQuick app, you can use different manufacturer tools, different brands together. So I can use my Fieldpiece pressure probes, UEI temperature clamps, UEI psychrometers, index psychrometers, a UEI outdoor temperature sensor, and then my Fieldpiece probes for static pressure. So I can use all those together and get all the readings on one chart, and I can know exactly what my system is doing. And that's just with the basic MeasureQuick. There's a subscription you can get, and it gives you even more detail and different things that will help you even more, especially if you're just starting out. But again, there's several companies, Yellow Jacket, which has been in the industry for many, 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 many years. Sourman, which is a new company. I don't know too much about them, but I know they're pretty expensive. They're very pricey. JBE, I've had their probes before. I'm sure they've made improvements to them, but literally the plastic casing like just broke apart while they were in a padded case. So I don't know what the deal with that was, but I didn't. I just tossed those in the trash. Sometimes you got to chuck up a loss. Your hand tools, you have to get what you like. Metal snips, replace those things every 6 months to a year, depending on how much you use them. Because you don't really realize how bad they've gotten until you get a new pair. And you're like, oh, these are dull. So, yeah. So, if you use them a lot, 6 months to a year. If you don't use them much, maybe every couple of years. Typically, metal snips aren't too expensive. Let's see. Vacuum pump. I now have two vacuums. Both are NAVAC. One is a cordless. So I believe it's a 2 CFM pump, which on a new install, it's perfect. If I'm doing like a compressor change out, where I've got to pull the whole unit down, it's horrible. Let's be honest, it's horrible. So I also now have a NAVAC plug-in 7 CFM, which is pretty incredible because it does the job in a decent amount of time. I did my vacuum setup. I have a 3/8 hose and a 5/16 hose. I do CRTs on both ports, both the valves, and go straight from pump to unit. And then on my high side CRT, I put my vacuum disc. So we did a new install last week, and I'm mainly service, so I do installs every now and then. and I threw that 7 CFM pump on it, and it was below 500 microns in a minute and a half, and it's just that quick. Now, granted, you're pulling line set and coil, and it's all new, so there's no oil in there, no major contamination. It's just pulling it down. Now, with the UEI vacuum gauge, it gives you a little more information than the other ones I've used, and it gives you the outdoor temperature, and it gives you saturation point, uh, essentially the point at which the water is boiling off inside the line, which is pretty cool. And then it'll actually tell you when the vacuum is done. Then you just tap a button on your phone, and it goes into your rise test, and if that passes, you're good to go. So, just some things that I've seen along the way, and the options for tools are just incredible these days. Half the stuff I have, they didn't, it wasn't invented when I started, and I do still use analog gauges because those can, if you know how to read them, you know how to use them, they can tell you a lot as well. I've had the digital gauges. I mean, they were nice. They're bulky, and if you don't use them every day, if you do use them every day, it's kind of a nuisance. Um, so yeah, I even have my analog set up to be able to use my Bluetooth probes on them. If I've got to charge a unit, I can charge it that way. Still get my readings on my phone. Then you can do a screenshot and add it to your customer's work order and have all the information right there, which is really nice. The but above all, you know, get your tools and take care of it because that is your lifeline. And there's always unexpected happenings, and those will occur. But, learn from your mistakes and move on. That's the best thing I can tell you. But yeah, just take care of your tools. Hopefully, in some of my ramblings today, you've found something that will help you, or at least give you something to think about, or just go tell your friends, this guy is nuts. And there's that. So, with that, I wish everybody a good rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time.